Bisqueware is very what? Do you remember?
Bone dry.
It's very porous, right? Do you remember that? We talked about that. Very porous. So it absorbs the water really fast, which is perfect for glazing because it will absorb the glaze, which is what we want. Okay, so I cleaned it off. That's perfect. Now I'm going to get some dipping tongs. So we dip the glaze, okay? I'll grab the piece with the dipping tongs and kind of practice this a couple times to make sure you have a good hold on the piece. Like, don't just like grab it and go for it and then you drop your piece in the glaze. That would be bad. The amount of time you're going to hold the piece in the glaze is important because this is absorbing the glaze, so the longer you have it in there, what's happening? It's getting thicker, right? And can we have the glaze too thick? Will that be a problem? Yes, we can have it too thick. So it's important we don't put it in too long. The amount of time is about 3 seconds. Okay? Like 1, 2, 3, pull it out. Okay? So 3 seconds. So write that down. Quite long, I know. Okay. All right. So that's pretty good. All right, I've got my tongs. I've practiced holding my piece. Now, put in these steps, kind of a sub-note bowl. I'm going to do it a different way than, you're getting tired, than if I did a cylinder, okay? So your mugs is going to be a little different, but I want you to know how to do both things. If it's in an open form, okay, so write that. Open form like a bowl, okay? Open form meaning it's very open. That's not very big. The opening of it is wider than the piece itself. How does that sound? Okay? So, like a bowl, I can dip it all in at once, sideways. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it. All at once, sideways. So I'm going to grip the piece really well with the tongs, holding firmly. I don't want to drop the piece in. If I drop the piece in, it's going to get too much glaze on it, right? Okay, so I'm going to go, everybody watching? 1, 2, 3. They were kind of quick, 3 seconds. Pull it out. I let this excess drip off until it stops dripping. Now watch how quickly this dries because of our nice absorbent Bisqueware. Yes, I did. We'll get to that. When you do a cylinder, you won't have to coat the bottom. You can coat wash?
A little bit.
I don't have much left. Okay. Okay, so then when that dries, then I can grab it. So don't touch it until after it's dry, and you can see how that looks. When it's dry, it starts to get lighter. So I'm going to make sure that I'm not touching it anywhere that it's wet. Okay? Those I can wash off, and please make sure that you really do wash off everything that you use. I'm just going to set that on the floor for a minute. Okay, now my sponge comes in handy because I have glazed wear on the piece where I can't have it at the bottom. Okay, so this is easy. I'm just going to get my sponge, get it damp, and run this over the bottom. Okay, flip it over. Wet would be like dripping. Damp would be like not dripping. That seems the most concise explanation. Okay, and then I rinse it out again, and then same thing. I can use the side parts that are.
Looks like you're making it worse.
It does at first, but this is the best way to do it, I promise. So I'm not really pressing very hard with the sponge. And it's getting it off easily.
So if you want to have 2 different kinds of glaze, like the one mug that you showed us in the presentation,
I can show you
with where it's like dripping down it.
Mm-hmm. I can show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to get the sides of this. Again, light pressure, and I just go over it several times. All the way around until I have that little edge. And it's nice and straight. Please take your time on this step if you're doing this on your piece, because I've seen people do it so sloppy and it just makes a big difference in the end result. Okay? That is it, right there. So then this piece, if this was the only color I wanted to do, I'm done, and I can go put it on the high fire shelf ready to fire. Like if I were doing clear glaze over something, I would just do this and I was done. Okay, if I want to do more than one color, like I showed you a mug in the picture that had the one that was like that tan color and that had the white on the rim, and where they overlapped it dripped down. So that, is this ready to go, Jaron?
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be done by taking a piece that I've already glazed. So I glazed the whole thing in the first color. So in the case of that mug, it would have been that tan color. And then the second color, I will dip only the rim of the piece. Now this is going to make it thicker in that spot, right? Okay, so when this is your rule, side note to yourself, when you overlap glaze, which you can do, where on the piece should you avoid overlapping glaze, do you think?
Bottom.
Near the bottom, okay? Exactly. Think about that. It's going to be thicker. It's going to run where you do this. So try to avoid overlapping glaze near the bottom. So keep it towards the top or on the inside is fine because it will just run into the inside, to the bottom of the piece on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to take this. If you can grab the piece, that's a little hard to grab this because it's, I don't know, the angle. Figure out how you can grab it to dunk it upside down. No, I think I'm good. Okay, so I'm going to take that and just make sure I've mixed this up. Even if it's only been sitting for like a minute or two, stir it up again right before you use it. Okay, just to make sure it can settle pretty fast. Okay, and then I'm going to dunk it in to where I want it. And lift it back out, let that dry. Do I need to hold it in as long on my second dip with whatever other color I'm doing? Why not, right? Because it's going to be, there's already plenty of glaze on the piece. Okay, and then when this fires, which I'll show you this one after it gets fired, this will have some running and some effects on the edge where they overlap.
So you don't try to make it run?
No, you can, but you don't need to. It will run on its own in the firing.
How much will it run?
Depends on the glazes. Some do more than others, so yeah, you just have to see. Okay, then if I'm doing, so that's a bowl form or an open form, okay? So now a closed or a cylinder form like this, if I dunked this in sideways, it would almost certainly trap air and I wouldn't get all of the inside coated. So these you do separate, inside then outside, okay? So we're doing these in 2 steps. Any other form besides a bowl, basically, is 2 steps. So you do the inside first,